Tonight, a St. Lucia Labour Party press conference gets hijacked on Wednesday morning.
Mr. Elliott, I will not allow you to disrupt the press conference.
U.S. President Donald Trump signs a declaration that is set to cripple Venezuela, and the Latin nation is speaking out against it. And the Folk Research Center has a new executive director. All this and more coming up in tonight's broadcast.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good evening. It is Wednesday, the 7th of August, 2019. Welcome to the Hot 7 Nightly News. We're on Flow Channel 117, also being simulcast on Kiss FM 105.5 and 105.9 radio. We're live on Facebook at Caribbean Hot 7 TV, and you can catch us on our free mobile app. Just search for Caribbean Hot FM in the Play Store. I'm Rochelle Gonzalez, standing in for lovely Saint Amy Joseph. Host of the popular TV show Untold Stories, Dale Elliott, refused to take no for an answer, showing up to an SLP press conference being conducted by Parliamentary Representative for Labrie, Alva Baptiste. Elliott sought to have his questions answered one way or another. Solange Alfred tells us more.
A tense scene at the office of the Leader of the Opposition. The SLP's first deputy political leader, Alva Baptiste, calmly navigates through questions he was not expecting. Prior to the incident, a call was placed to members of the media to attend a press conference to address the Virgin Atlantic pullout as well as the NIC carbon loan. After his address, Baptiste opened the floor for questions relating to the topics of the day. What followed was far from the regular proceedings. A barrage of unrelated questions came from host of Untold Stories, Dale Elliott, who based his ambush attack on being denied audience with Baptiste to be a part of his show. He starts his line of questioning asking Baptiste to name 3 economic indicators of any economy.
What are the 3 economic indicators, 3 main economic indicators for any economy?
Yeah, well, this is an economics class.
No, it is a press conference where you've spoken about GDP. I'm asking you a question as a journalist.
Well, the GDP, you look at the general level of prices in the economy, and you look at unemployment, the employment situation. These are very important indicators in any economy.
Do you trust the review of the social and economic review done by CBE?
I have no reason to enter any public debate with economists who go about doing their work.
Do you use that as a reference?
Yes, I do.
For his part, Baptiste tried to ascertain the direction Elliott was headed with his line of questioning, but the journalist refused to ask his prime questions until having his lesser questions first answered.
You go in. What is your question, sir?
My question was very clear. What
Yes.
is the debt to GDP in 2040?
Yes, I'm getting it for you. All right. But what is the relevance of that information? I want you to make your point.
You spoke very clearly about the national debt. Yes? So there must be information that
Okay.
you use to substantiate your statements.
Okay.
So
I spoke to the national debt
let
in
me
yeah.
According to the social and economic review, national debt to GDP 2040 74.5%. 2050 65.4%. What does that tell you? What does that indicate, Mr. Ellis?
I want you to ask pertinent questions.
These questions are pertinent.
No, they are
Answer.
not.
Please answer the question. We will determine whether they're pertinent or not. Please answer the question.
Through speculation, Elliott seemingly wanted to compare and contrast the level of borrowing done under the SLP administration versus the current administration, which has been a major talking point for the opposition, to which Baptiste offered this response.
You say now that in 2017, 2018, St. Lucia is in a worse financial position than it was in 2014. Are you saying that?
It's the management of the economy we're talking about. We are talking about the management of the economy. You can engage in heavy borrowing and engage in projects that can generate growth, which is not sustainable. It can be expansionary fiscal policy.
You spoke of prices and inflation as an economic indicator, correct?
I didn't go through those specifics.
Yeah, but you said
I was
it was a
speaking,
economic indicator.
but I'll tell you what. To give you a global response to all what you are asking me, it does not matter what university you attend or what university you have a macroeconomist from, they will all agree that when you borrow so heavily, over $500 million for an airport project, you would have been increasing the debt to GDP ratio significantly. That's one. So my comment was specific to that particular increase when we could have avoided that borrowing by going ahead with the World Bank.
With the true nature of what the ambush attack was attempting to find out still being unknown, the true issue remains an untold story. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solange Alfred.
The deputy political leader of the St. Lucia Labour Party, Alva Baptist, says the posture adopted by Prime Minister Alan Chasney in regards to the Virgin Atlantic pullout is one too casual for the gravity of the situation. Baptist says the situation has the capacity to lend itself to economic instability, which should not be taken lightly.
On Wednesday, 7th August, a press conference held at the Leader of the Opposition's office gave way for first deputy political leader of the St. Lucia Labour Party, Alva Baptist, to express his concerns over what he says is a pressing issue which is seemingly being handled light-handedly by the current administration.
That's why I was very specific in speaking to a structured framework. The Prime Minister could meet his friends and speak to them about what is happening. A structured framework to deal with that is for us to comprehend the problem in all of its ramifications before we make a final decision. So this is why, at this juncture, I have not fired any missiles at him to say he should have or he should not have, but the casual manner in which he's going about it is completely unacceptable.
Baptist says the current administration would be better placed with a structured approach which involved all key stakeholders within the tourism industry.
If they have a relationship with Virgin Atlantic and they have Virgin Atlantic customers, then I think it's incumbent upon Virgin Atlantic to engage with all persons that are involved in the operation. But from the standpoint of St. Lucia, Virgin Atlantic would bring passengers to our shores. Those passengers would be going to hotels. Those passengers would be taking taxis. Those passengers would be visiting the restaurants. You have the airport authority itself. Virgin Atlantic, when it lands at Iwanora, it pays landing fees, it pays NAVCOM charges to the airport authority. The passengers would pay taxes when they leave the airport. They would patronize the concessionaires at the airport. And all of those players are absolutely important in responding to the loss or the potential loss of Virgin Atlantic.
He says without the essential information, a firm stance as to whether the government's decision was well informed or not cannot be determined.
I do not have the necessary data to say, yes, I'm going to give them 2.5 million, or I'm not going to give them 2.5 million. I am simply saying that it is not a matter for the Prime Minister to be casual about and play games with Virgin Atlantic. We're supposed to get down to business and do the necessary analysis so it could inform our position.
To close off, Baptist tied in the Urinura International Airport redevelopment project, saying the borrowing of $500 million for the project, coupled with the pullout by a lucrative carrier, can lead to major financial economic problems for St. Lucia. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solange Alfred.
In what is seemingly becoming a back-and-forth game of he says, Castries South MP Dr. Ernest Hilaire has given a rebuttal to a statement made by Tourism Minister Dominic Fede, who was on his part responding to an initial statement made by Dr. Hilaire himself. The saga kicked off after Dr. Hilaire made a statement via social media expressing concerns following an official statement made by Fede about the Virgin Atlantic pullout. Responding to his post via online and print media houses, Fede accused Dr. Hilaire of misleading the public on matters of national importance and claimed that he had gotten his numbers wrong. Well, Dr. Hilaire has hit right back.
The response from Minister Dominic Fede to my posting on the Virgin matter is really disappointing, although I am not surprised by his response. It seems to me that the minister did not even read the posting, properly. Because first of all, he raised this issue and said that, I should have done my research and find out that, Prime Minister Alan Chasney, as the Minister of Tourism, did not have $250 million when he was there as minister. Now, come on, the point I was being made was that the Prime Minister, as Minister of Tourism, had a substantial budget. And if the 250 million is not right, then tell us the right figure, Honorable Minister. But he had a substantial budget and he used to subsidize airlines. And the question I was being asked is, if he at one point believed in subsidizing airlines, what has changed now?
Dr. Hiller said although Fede claimed that his figures were erroneous, he stands by his initial statement.
Virgin made a request for each island to contribute towards the operations of the flights. St. Lucia was up first, and St. Lucia said basically what they said, and Virgin has pulled out. Virgin is in negotiation in the other islands. And the point again, it comes back to is whether or not St. Lucia has decided that Virgin's offer is the first and last offer. We found out later that that's not the case, because the Prime Minister said Virgin asked him for a counter offer, and he found it difficult to give them an offer because he couldn't understand the nature of their problems. If you are in a negotiation with a company, and the company says you are on 2.5 million US each year for the next 3 years, and you said no, and the company asked you to make a counter offer, and you did not do it?
To clear the air, Dr. Hiller said he never insinuated that the government should pay the amount requested. Instead, he suggested the adoption of a regional approach to the matter.
Virgin has had to be told very clearly, this has been done against a block of countries. If you are pulling out from one, you're pulling out from all. I also said, if for some reason the government of St. Lucia found itself in a position where others were paying, but the government did not think it was in our best interest to pay, then I understand their position. I said so in my posting. I never condemned the government for not paying. I actually said if the government decides it's not in our best interest because the figure is too high, then I understand their position. But the Prime Minister would say that Virgin asked for 2.5 million US each year for the next 3 years. They asked, he rejected it. They asked him to counter offer, and he found it difficult to do that. How can you find it difficult to do that? If, according to the minister, they calculated value for money. If 2.5 million US each year for the next 3 years for the amount of people Virgin is bringing is not value for money, what is value for money?
At some point, Dr. Hiller said there must be some benefit to having Virgin. Now on to a lighter topic. Children of today are undoubtedly nothing like the children of 20 to 30 years ago, and this is expected as the world is far more advanced in every aspect, namely technologically, than it was in the past years. With that said, whilst today's children are more tech-savvy than the generations before them, has this advancement robbed them of the real fun, adventure, and excitement of childhood of yesteryear? Computers, phones, tablets, and game consoles have almost entirely replaced swings, yo-yos, marbles, skipping ropes, climbing trees, and general outdoor games. So we took to the streets to ask the public, where have the good times gone?
I believe that those games, the marbles, the sec, the cowboy, those games, they have been replaced sadly with the computer games. So every child right now, you would see them on a tablet playing, and then the whole idea of being out in the yard playing marbles and riding the sec and so on, these games would encourage the socialization aspect. But given that right now everybody's in a tablet and everybody's to themselves at home, then right away you realize that all the fun that was happening when I was growing up as a young boy, that is gone, and that is replaced by students or perhaps children who think that it is better to be on a tablet for the entire day.
Oui, après ça va faire ça, on va faire ça. Mais la vache est présent. On a la pour ça, c'est fondé par grand bien physique autour de la présent. Pensez pas ça encore. Moi me regarde, moi te bon les gars, moi te assis dans le système, moi me regarde tout puis, moi regarde l'été, moi regarde moi bail quoi. Comment?
By the river, playing topi, playing marbles. They don't have them things anymore.
Why you feel them things finished?
Why? Because you're not seeing that like before.
No, I've never played marbles. I've never played it. I've never played the game itself. I remember my father telling me about it when he was young. He used to he used to go around here, and they were very good at it as well. They normally played it after school as a young child, but I really cannot relate to playing marbles. Growing up, I was more inside, but I find it something that we as younger children, we should be in touch with it, because it's part of our roots, and it's just sad to see that people my age cannot really relate to it.
Nou pa ni culture encore?
Non, tu as levé. Moi, laisse ça. Qui ça vous jouer?
Ouais, moi ka jouer mab, moi ka skip, moi ka courir, jouer né. Tout ce ça zing. Oui, nous ka fait tout ça. So nous TikTok, nous perdre culture à présent.
So qui ça va faire ce moment là?
C'est pas la banita. You involved in turbine technology à présent, you Americanized. And you pass a même jouer zing quoi. Pas même tout you connaît demander pour faire.
Yeah, the time I grew up in summertime school clothes, that was one of the happiest days of my life. It was a time for children to play, you follow me, and outdoors. We were outdoors. Now children are indoors. I mean, summer, I don't know it's summer if I can check my calendar, because the streets are empty. The children are inside, seated at the tablets and the cell phones, whereby we will be out, we are physically active, and that maintained our good health and gave us a mental balance and equilibrium. Because when school closed, I remember some of us used to go to the countryside, so that was a break from our routine. But now you see no kite flying, no marbles, no tires being pushed around the place, and it brings a lack of creativity, because we had to make our own toys. We made our tops out of the guava tree. We made our kites ourselves. You know, we are creative, so mind and hands were at work. But now children just are sitting along there with their hands on a video game, and I think that's so sad to see in our society. We're becoming almost like a cyborg society, robotic, like mechanical society, and we're losing touch with the reality of life and society. Follow me? And I don't know, but it seems that we almost have lost the battle. Our children have been gone and absorbed by these video games, and it's going to become a chronic problem in the near future.
With the tablets and the other games that are played electronically, these games are definitely taking away the whole problem-solving aspect of that the children would encourage or would encounter while they were growing up. I mean, I remember my time playing marbles, and then I would be playing with my brothers and my cousins, and then all of that would encourage a socialization, would encourage us to solve problems as to how to hit the marble, how to play it, and so on. But right now it's just on a video game, and of course you either die or you don't die. So all of that is, I believe, contributing to the ills of society.
You're watching the Hot 7 Nightly News. When we come back, the U.S. president places Venezuela in a chokehold, and help is on hand for those who have trouble deciding what to eat.